You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. My name is David Viana, and before I call this meeting to order, I will note for the record that I will serve as the acting chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Queens West Development Corporation for Monday, March 24th, 2025. I'd like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. We welcome public comment on today's agenda items. I will note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 4:30 p.m. on Friday. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. I will also note that we do not have any members of the public attending today's meeting. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on today's agenda. If so, I would ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourselves from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. None?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, our first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the directors' meeting of March 21st, 2024. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. I would now like to ask Matthew Acasella, Empire State Development's Associate Counsel, to present the next agenda item relating to an appointment of officer.
Good afternoon, directors. For this item, the directors are being asked to appoint David Viana, who is currently the Assistant Vice President for Community Relations and Subsidiary Affairs, Subsidiary Administration here at ESD, to be the new president of Queens West Development Corporation. That position has been vacant since Terrence Cho resigned in July 2024. David would be appointed as president of the corporation and assume the day-to-day responsibilities and management of it going forward. Any questions or concerns? No. Thank you. Okay. If not, should I entertain the motion?
He can entertain the motion.
Okay.
Back to you, David.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you.
Certainly.
I will now present the request for authorization for the corporation to adopt its operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2025, 2026. So the directors are being asked to consider for approval the Queens West Development Corporation operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. The operating budget of $5,072 includes personal services expenses of $0 and non-personal service expenses in the amount of $5,072. Personal service expenses, which were previously covered by QWDC's operating budget, are now being covered by Empire State Development's Real Estate Development and Planning Department budget. So that's why that number has been reduced compared to previous years. Operating expenses for fiscal year 2025-2026 will include legal, accounting fees, insurance, and telephone and internet expenses. Again, those are continued from previous years as well, similar expenses. The capital budget of $1,550,000 includes the construction costs of $450,000 for the State Parks Ranger and Comfort Station, $865,000 for the 47th Street Park entrance, and a small contingency. Both construction projects were completed under the purview of the New York City Department of Design and Construction, or NYC DDC, and QWDC will issue payment upon notice and request from the agency. Please note that this funding has been earmarked for the Park Ranger Station and Park entrance for a few years now, and QWDC continues to wait for New York City Design and Construction to issue the notice of completion for us to release these funds to them. The capital budget also includes $70,000 for possible legal expenses connected to the property transfers of the Queens Library site and northern portion of the Center Boulevard from QWDC to the City of New York. The long-term plans for both of these properties have always included the eventual transfer of ownership to the city. If anybody has any questions about the budgets, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, it's the same amount that we carry
Yes.
forward each year for those costs that you just described. So we had it last year, we didn't incur it. So
Correct. Correct. Yes. And we have made an effort to reach out to DDC to check in and see if we can advance those funds, but they have not been ready to do so.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Right. I will now entertain a motion for approval, and this is for the budget.
So move.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. Next, Matt will present a request for, among other things, the corporation to approve a modification to the general project plan for parcels 1, 3, 5, and 6 of the Hunters Point Queens West Waterfront Development Land Use Improvement Project. Matt.
Yes, thank you. So for this final item on the agenda, the directors are being asked to consider approving a modification to the Hunters Point Queens West General Project Plan, or GPP, to specifically amend the definition of lot line, which is actually contained in the body of the GPP in the General Development Controls section. And this would be to allow for a lot line that coincides with the boundary of a public park to be considered a street line for the purposes of applying use and bulk regulations. This amendment has been requested by TF Cornerstone, the developer that developed the parcels kind of closest to the waterfront and the park. Those are parcels 1, 3, 5, and 6. This would correct a technical noncompliance with the New York State multiple dwelling law, which does not recognize a park as a legal source of legal light and air for a dwelling absent a specific zoning provision that provides for it. As currently stands, the buildings could not be rebuilt and permitted the way they are in the event of some kind of casualty. The proposed modification would not alter the designated use or bulk of these completed buildings on these parcels, which, as we all know, the project is largely built out and completed. I'll note that because the GPP was actually passed by our parent company, Empire State Development, at the outset, the way that this has worked is that the Queens West Board would approve a recommendation to the ESD directors to make a modification to the GPP. So if the directors approve this today, we will then take it to a future ESD board meeting and make the request to the ESD directors with the recommendation of this board. Last point is that Queens West and ESD staff from environmental and real estate departments have reviewed this request and determined that the modification conforms with the project's design goals and objectives and does not constitute a material change to the GPP, and it's something that we consider very minor. There are many examples in the New York City zoning code that are included in the materials where similar language has been added to the city zoning code to provide for legal light in there in a similar situation. So happy to answer any questions if anybody has them.
Just the only change is just this bolded language under the definition of lot line, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that the parcels that are adjacent that will now effectively get the light near. There was no plan, there had been no plan for development of those parcels.
On the park parcels?
On the park parcel.
Correct. That they were originally had been left open whether it would be an internal road, and then it was changed to be a park. That kind of blends into the New York State Gantry Park. So there's no plans to build anything on those park parcels.
Okay.
Right. As indicated earlier, we do not have any comments from the public. Are there any questions or comments from the directors? Looks like no. Okay. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. Now, there being no further business, I will call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second. Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. I want to thank everyone for your participation in today's meeting.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.